Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice of radio, so today we are going to be looking at Xerneas. Now, Xerneas is coming in the upcoming Crimson Invasion expansion, which is being released in November, and it's a while since we had a Xerneas in our main set. And no, I am not counting the bazillion reprints of the Geomancy Xerneas. I'm just not doing it. Now, is it any good? The answer is, I don't think it's amazing, but like so many of these cards, like Octillery yesterday, in some situations, in some decks, it really is quite useful indeed. So, 130 HP is kind of standard, but there's a big difference nowadays between 120 and 130 HP. Take Gardevoir, for example. Gardevoir hits for 120 for a single energy. Xerneas will be able to tank that hit and survive, but if it had 120, it wouldn't be able to. Take Gardevoir GX, for instance. Gardevoir GX hits 30 damage for every energy attached to both active Pokemon. 120 HP means there's 4 energy for a KO. 130 means 5. There is a big difference. I like it. Retreat cost of 2 is actually kind of annoying, given that, you know, the main attack here, or the first attack at least, is for 1 energy. Boo! Resistance to Darkness is always good, especially with Speed Darkrai looking like it might gain a bit of traction in the near future. And the weakness to Metal is a little bit weird, because it's not really a problem now. The only Pokemon that's going to be relevant in the immediate future that is a Metal type is Metagross. But I hate to break it to you, ladies and gentlemen, sit down for the bad news. Metagross is getting a one-hit KO regardless of weakness, so it's kind of irrelevant here. The thing is that Gardevoir GX is looking like it's going to be extremely good. It just won Worlds, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. So that, of course, leads to the issue of people are going to be playing Metal Pokemon, like potentially the upcoming Registeel card, to try and counter Xerneas, and if they're countering Xerneas, they will be countering you as well. In terms of your fairy typing, you are hitting weakness on Noivern GX, which some people do think is going to be pretty good in the near future, and any other dragons that come up, but it's not amazing at the moment. Although I should mention that, of course, you've got Fairy Garden to give yourself free retreat with Fairy Energy attached, and of course, Fairy Energy means you can use Comfy to make sure that you don't have any special conditions, and maybe even Fairy Drop to do a little bit of the old healing. Now, being a basic means that you can use Fighting Fury Belt to pop up to 170 HP, and it means you can use Max Elixir to accelerate energy. So what does it actually do? The first attack for 1 colourless energy, which does mean that as a basic attacking for a colourless, it can be teched into any deck whatsoever. Search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. Alright. And this has some uses, but I think they're limited. I don't think it's worth searching for, say, an Acerola to heal one of your Pokemon the following turn. Because if you go for an Acerola, your opponent's going to go, they're going to pick up that Pokemon off their bench and heal it, so they're going to go out of their way to grab a Guzma to take the KO next turn rather than waiting. Similarly, if your opponent has got a half KO'd Pokemon on their bench, and you search for a Guzma so that you can KO at the following turn, your opponent is going to go out of their way to try and grab something like an Acerola to try and heal it before you can play the Guzma. You are telegraphing to your opponent what they're going to do, and they can try and get around it. But of course, they can just play an N. And maybe they play an N and you draw back into the Acerola that you searched with a Xerneas. Fine, that happens sometimes. But you can put yourself in a good position here as the person not playing Xerneas by just playing an N. So you know what? Searching for a specific supporter card that you really want to be using the following turn, I don't think is a great use for this. However, I do think it's worth it when you've just got nothing in your hand. When you sit there and you've got a hand of unplayable rubbish, you don't have a Tapu Lele to search for a supporter. You don't have an Ultra Ball to search for a Tapu Lele, to search for a supporter. Well, you know what? You can use this. And yeah, maybe your opponent plays an N. Fine by me. Because if I'm in such a dire position in my game that I'm using Xerneas to search for a supporter just so I've got something to do next turn, and my opponent ends me, cool. I will take that, ladies and gentlemen, all day long. That is absolutely fine by me. But here's my biggest issue with Xerneas. This is a good attack that gets you a guaranteed supporter for next turn, and in that respect, I like it. But you could be using a Alolan Vulpix for 0 energy to search for, say, a Tapu Lele and another Pokemon. You could be using Geomancy for 1 energy as a fairy Pokemon, although it would have to be a fairy energy, to automatically evolve one of your benched Pokemon. You could be using Tapu Koko to spread 20 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon for a double colourless energy. What I'm saying is, yes, if you've got nothing in your hand, this is a great attack in lieu of anything else to do. But are there other Pokemon you would rather be using instead? And in most games, I'd probably rather use an Alolan Vulpix to search for a Tapu Lele and another Pokemon. That way, if I don't get End, then I've got the Tapu Lele and I've got an evolution for my bench at the same time. That, to me, sounds good. Useful, but not game-breaking. So what about the second attack here? Nice and straightforward, free fairy energy, 130 damage. This Pokemon cannot use Bright Horn during your next turn. And this might sound controversial to some of you guys watching, I like this attack. And I think this could be good in a Gardevoir deck. Of course, whenever we're talking fairy Pokemon at the moment, we need to be going, hang on a second. This could work in Gardevoir. As a single card tech, as a basic Pokemon that you put in your deck, I like this. And here's the reason. Let's say you're up against something like a Volcanion deck. Do you really want to be putting 4 energy on a Gardevoir GX to take down a Volcanion? I don't think you do, ladies and gentlemen. Especially if you've only got 1 Gardevoir out. You don't want to be putting it in harm's way. And of course, that 4 energy on Gardevoir to KO a non-GX Volcanion is only doable if they've already got an energy on them. Otherwise, it's 5 energy. It is extremely expensive to KO a non-GX Volcanion with Gardevoir, and if you've played that matchup a few times, you will understand how annoying it could be. And yes, I know you could use Gallade here, and Gallade would do 130 and KO the Volcanion, but Gallade is a stage 2 that you are evolving up instead of a Gardevoir. Sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. Basic Pokemon, free energy, and it's really not that difficult because you can use your Gardevoir to accelerate energy onto the Xerneas here. So turn 1 you put an energy on Xerneas, turn 2 you put a second energy, and then you use Gardevoir's ability to pop an extra energy onto their bit of the old secret spring action, and now you're doing 130 for free energy, you're taking out that Volcanion, and you're not putting your Gardevoir GX in harm's way. Gardevoir is an amazing Pokemon for taking down big attackers. So you get something like a Ho-Oh GX there with 4 energy, brilliant! 2 energy Gardevoir gets a KO. You get a Turtonator with 2 energy on, brilliant! 4 energy Gardevoir with a Choice Band gets a KO for 2 prizes. I'm loving this. But really, taking down these awkward 130 HP Pokemon with Gardevoir is just super annoying. It takes a lot to do it. And that's why I'm a fan of Xerneas in that deck. I really do think it's fun. Of course, if we look at just general Xerneas decks, don't forget we've still got the Geomancy Xerneas that you can use to accelerate energy. Don't forget we've still got Xerneas Break with its Life Stream attack, doing 20 damage for each fairy energy you've got on the field. And, you know, Xerneas from, well, the original one, the Geomancy one, from everything from XY through Steam Siege, only does 100 for free energy, and you've got to discard one. This is a better attack, ladies and gentlemen. So no, I don't think Xerneas is this amazing Pokemon around which you should be building its own deck. But as a tech in a deck that's already playing Xerneas, I love it. Popping it in a Gardevoir deck as a non-GX single prize basic 1-card tech to help certain matchups, I don't love it, but I quite like it. It certainly warrants a bit of testing. And as for the first attack, look, we both know, or if there's more than one of you listening to this at once, we all know that you're not going to be using this every game. This isn't going to be some amazing go-to, I can't wait to use it attack. But we've all had those games where we sit there and we look at our opening hand and we say, right, if I don't top deck something this turn, I am going to lose the game. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this Xerneas guarantees that you are going to have something for the next turn. And you know what? Maybe they play an N. Who cares? You would have loved an N anyway. So I am going to give Xerneas a potentially overly generous free Wassies. It is a tech. It is one to have in your binder, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, a card that deserves a space or two in your binder, that's a free Wassie card. Maybe it will see no play, but I've already thought of 2 decks where this could be a fun little tech, and I'm sure there'll be more in the future. But if you disagree, ladies and gentlemen, go to the comment section, say your piece, go nuts! But remember the cardinal rule. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. There's going to be a PTCGO stream at 7 PM UK time tonight. I heartily suggest you all join in. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus pods, and I'm going to be honest, bonus pods are good, then go check it out at patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.